And it's my pleasure to introduce you to Jillian Hallcroft and Trevor Kelly, CMIC's Innovation Managers for Processing and Mining, respectively. Jillian's a bilingual executive chemical engineer with about 30 years of experience in a number of areas: advanced technology, environmental services, mining, metallurgy, international trade, etc. Trevor has 20+ years of technical and operational mining experience, working globally with some of the largest mining companies in their respective commodities, such as Barrick Gold, Cameco, BHP Billiton, Teck, and Homestake. Now, I do have to say that Trevor and Jillian are the key drivers of consortium-based projects at CMIC, and their passion, energy, and drive are definitely a gift to CMIC, so thank you. So, Trevor and Jillian, please, the presentation is yours.
Thanks, Carl. As you mentioned before, like, these presentations will be available to people, and you know, so we'll probably try to zip through them relatively quickly. I think that one of the big pieces that I want to highlight is that these projects that you've seen and that you'll hear more about from Jillian and I, and you still have an opportunity to participate. It's never too late. And so we'll supply our contact information at the end, and if there's something you'd like to learn more about, please feel free to contact us. Next slide, Jillian, please. So this is a depiction of how CMIC manages the portfolio projects. These are all identified and driven by our industry members, from a concept to a development, execution, and completion phase. And you know, what we'll talk today primarily about are the projects that are in development. Next slide, please. So as Gordon mentioned earlier today, and we've heard it a couple of times around the CMIC vision of towards zero waste mining, these projects that we've heard from and we'll highlight today in yellow from Jillian and myself. This just illustrates the impact on energy, water, environmental footprint, and how they fit into, in my particular case, the surface and underground continuous mining platforms that will help lead us down that path to execute on our vision. Next slide, please. So this is a very exciting project that's in development. This is we're working with a host company to enable operators and staff people to be away from the face during the development cycle, and it's broken up into a multi-phase approach, where initially we're doing some proof of concepts, as well as to ultimately execute on the complete development cycle of having people 5 meters from the face, and then ultimately remotely. So we've developed and proposed a level setting process that is designed to unite and unite a universal voice, industry voice, and focus on a final list of projects, which Jillian will give us a bit more information later on the details around the level setting process. We've been socializing this project for the last number of months with a number of mining companies, and there's a high level of interest to participate and make a change in this direction. Next slide, please. Mechanical cutting continued learning is another project that is, again, part of a phased approach that we like to use at CMIC. We've heard a little bit from you know, the journey that Valet went on from Luke, and that's kind of how we started out with regards to phase one. Was, you know, learning and understanding the people, the players, the technologies that were out there. We did that a year or two ago. This phase that we're in right now is phase two, with the development and deployment for mechanical cutting, as we saw with Valet. And this continuing learning piece is an enabler to allow us to maintain our relationships with companies, relationship with OEMs, to, you know, look for opportunities to get membership participation in low cost mechanical cutting collaboration opportunities, as well as start the initial discussions to enable some of the documentation required to have some open and honest discussions and sharing from the onset. And we think that this is a good opportunity for people to get involved from an experienced company, as well as people that are learning it and want to learn more about mechanical cutting, as this gives us access to things that will help you de-risk your implementation of this technology as you decide to put it to place in your own companies. Next slide, please. And this is my last slide to speak to, and Jillian will follow on from here. But in general, ore sorting is a strategic initiative that many companies have undertaken over the past number of years. And this consortium proposal was put forward based on an industry draw again to take the next steps and to understand and build on the experience from the last few years that individual companies have been working towards. And as I mentioned, we propose this sharing, gap analysis, and ultimately project alignment process, which we kind of earmarked as the level setting process that maybe Jillian, you could give us a bit more information on that going forward. Next slide.
Sounds great. Was that it, Trevor? You're good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.
Yeah, super. Thanks, Trevor. This is actually a fun project for Trevor. Trevor and I were going to be working jointly together on it. As Trevor mentioned, we sent out a project charter at the end of May, and there was a lot of back and forth, specifically from Agnico to help us formulate this project charter. And the key part of this project, as Trevor saying, is the level setting process. And we've heard a lot about this early in the presentations from Luke and from Mal, in terms of really leveraging off of leveraging existing knowledge and lessons learned. So the idea here is that we want to hold 3 very fast-paced workshops over the next 6 months. And so the idea is prior to the first workshop, CMIC will prepare a guideline, a template to send out to the consortium partners in preparation and get some information about example topics such as bulk sorting, particle sorting, sensors, ore body knowledge, other consortiums that they may have been involved with, a business case studies, what's working, what's not working. And the idea is we'll discuss all of this in the first workshop, then we'll summarize the findings, but there'll be a lot of activities between the first and the second workshop, and we'll work with the consortium to explore the latest advances in sensing, sorting, engaging known and possibly new vendors. The idea being to co-create, look at the various challenges, and even challenge the vendors. And then we'll hold a second workshop, and as Trevor mentioned, this workshop will be focused on reviewing the information and identifying the gaps and prioritizing the gaps. Whether or not we invite vendors will be a consortium decision. And again, the same idea with this level setting process, we're going to summarize the findings, and prior to the third workshop, we'll have a draft proposal, sub-project scopes, so that we can really brainstorm and elaborate and see which of the consortium partners want to be involved in. We expect several sub-projects to be created as part of a phase 2, may include technology evaluation, piloting, demoing, and the whole idea, again, leveraging existing knowledge, sharing the risk, and basically be able to take ore sorting quickly to a new level for the mining industry. And so again, if we look at this fast-paced schedule, if we can have 5 to 10 mining companies sign up by the end of this month, June 30th, we could actually hold the first workshop a month later, at the end of July. Again, following this workshop, we'd have the second one by middle of October, with the final workshop setting the stage for phase 2 on November 30th. So this entire level setting process would be completed before year end. So it's an exciting project, and one, as Trevor mentioned, was at the request from our member companies to get involved in. What I wanted to mention, and Trevor mentioned as well, is that there's, the projects that you've heard on the processing and the mining side, it's never too late to get involved, and we'd love to have people involved. I can talk about the processing on the CAN micro and such would be great. but there's a couple of projects that we really love on the processing side to get kicked off in 2020. And this one, data mining for value, came out of a CMIC workshop, same one that Can Micro, and the workshop participants. It was agreed that Glencore XPS decided to take the lead to be the project champion, with CMIC acting, providing some project management support. We actually put together what I thought was a fantastic project charter in November of 2019. And again, it's the whole idea behind lessons learned, leveraging existing knowledge. So the idea being, for the first phase, 4 months, survey, benchmark, and benchmark partner operations. What are really the outcome being? What are really the best practices, and what are the gaps? Sources of this information in terms of systems, software, algorithms, what's working, what's not, would be confidential. And Glencore XPS have already worked very hard to develop this baseline questionnaire. So this project is ready to go. And following this phase 1, we'd have another 4 months where when we understand the best practices, we select a clean partner data set and look at multiple data analytic tools to evaluate the outputs. What data sets, what tools work well, which ones don't. And the whole idea behind this project is that we're not trying to pitch a software or a solution. It's software agnostic, it's sharing experiences. But for this project to get kicked off, we need, and to have a proper benchmark survey, we need at least 5 and ideally 10 mining companies to commit and share this information. So as Trevor again mentioned, we'd welcome anyone who wants to contact us to see if they want to get involved. The last project I want to talk about is another fantastic project, Global Water Curves. This is a great one. We're actually partnering with CMIC on this project, and we're basing it off of CMIC's success with the Energy Curves database project. Again, the whole idea behind this, again, sharing information, level setting process. There was a fantastic workshop that was held in September 2019. A lot of participation, a lot of excitement. So with this, with the structure of this project, again, phase 1, really looking at what existing information is out there. There's no time to reinvent the wheel. So again, level setting process, giving ourselves this time, 6 months to do that. And with that level setting process, then look at the companies that are participating. Again, ideally 5, but actually 5 at a minimum, at least 10 companies would be ideal, and collect data, analyze the existing water data. All sources are remaining confidential, and the whole purpose of this project would be to deliver a new industry tool, a global water curves database that would drive industry knowledge sharing and accelerate more water efficient technology uptake and innovation. The idea is, though, that within this first 14 months, prior to any big monies being committed, we would have a workshop to say, do we have enough data? Do we have enough information? Do we want to proceed to the next phase, which is developing this database where it's more time, effort, and costs? So there's a pause where we decide as a consortium, is this worth pursuing? Do we want to build a global water curves database, or do we go, or do we stop? And if all goes well, we'd have a beta rollout within a couple of years, which would be fantastic. And this project, it really fits with CMIC's vision and SEEK's vision, where water savings are key, the social license to operate, best practices adoption, executive understanding, and safety and sustainability. So again, we'd love to work with SEEK on this project and have this one kicked off. So in closing, for the projects that are currently going on, for these projects that Trevor and I have discussed, we'd love to hear from you. The more companies, groups that get involved, the better the outcome will be. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Jillian. Thank you, Trevor.